Now, this morning, the Anti-Semitism Royal Commissioner Virginia Bell visited the Bondi massacre site and met with some survivors and the families of victims. But it was merely symbolic because her inquiry won't hear directly from these families or witnesses.
This commission must do its work without risking any prejudice to that criminal proceeding. Leading evidence at this commission from people who may be witnesses in the criminal proceeding would create that risk, and for that reason it will not occur.
Now, the point I'll say in response to that is that we managed to produce a 90-minute documentary this week, hearing testimony from witnesses and survivors. It was heavily legaled. It's not going to have any impact on the court case. The testimony can be heard, and it should be heard. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Shadow Communications Minister Sarah Henderson. Sarah, I mean, how can the inquiry into the terror attack shut out the voices of the victims when, as I just said, their testimony can go through a legal process?
Well, Sharri, good evening. I understand the principle of not prejudicing a criminal trial, so the Commissioner has made a very important point, but I am surprised, and I'm not going to step into the shoes of the Commissioner and pretend that I know more about the legal matters than she's confronting, but I am surprised because I would have thought that if there is open evidence which may prejudice a criminal trial, there might be an option for her to take that evidence in camera, or there might be matters that the victims' families or survivors may wish to raise which don't go directly to the matters being heard by the criminal court. So it is surprising, and I hope that there might be an opportunity for Commissioner Bell to perhaps review her position and to consider ways that the voices of the victims' families and the survivors can be heard.
Someone said to me we should just submit our entire documentary because you had Matilda's parents saying that the 2 years of anti-Semitism, I mean, you all heard it this week, Matilda's father say the 2 years of anti-Semitism, the Albanese government, he feels, is directly responsible for what happened at Bondi. I mean, this is crucial evidence for the Royal Commissioner to hear. But, at the moment, none of that will be examined in the Royal Commission. Now, just moving on to another topic, Sarah, there's been new figures today in The Australian. They've exposed a gender wage gap at the public broadcaster, at the ABC. It said that men now earn more than 10% higher than their female colleagues. So, Sarah, how does the ABC compare to other companies when it comes to the wage gap?
Well, Sharri, the ABC is well outside the target range of plus or minus 5%. And so I have asked the question, why are men paid so much more than women at the ABC? I think the ABC does need to provide a full explanation. But this goes to transparency. And for a number of years, I have been calling on the ABC to be transparent about people who are paid at a high level at the ABC. There's a very significant transparency scheme run by the BBC. It was put in place in 2021, and every reporter or content maker over a particular threshold is required to disclose their salary band, any other gifts they receive, any other benefits that they receive, and so the people of the UK can have proper trust in the transparency of the BBC journalists. We don't have a similar scheme in Australia. I've prosecuted the case for a very long time, and I would like to see much more transparency in that respect, Sharri, because let's not forget, the ABC receives more than $1.2 billion of taxpayer funds every single year, and I think it is incumbent on our national broadcaster to be as transparent as it possibly can be. But of course, when it comes to these issues, we never see the government taking a stand, fighting for the Australian taxpayer, and that is very disappointing.
You remember there was the Optus outage in September last year where there was a 000 outage. It was absolutely catastrophic. Well, today's Senate inquiry heard extraordinary evidence about this. The independent investigator called it a culture of carelessness.
Speaking about this culture of carelessness, would you say, in fact, that that means there is a deeply concerning culture of negligence, given that we are talking about issues of life and death?
It is deeply concerning, and it was deeply concerning, yes. Optus is trying to work it out and is certainly trying to do the right thing and correct these problems. It's a cultural issue which will take some time. It's a culture that I can understand how it crept up and happened, but it is unforgivable and must be fixed.
So, Sarah, just quickly, what do you think was the heart of the problem here?
Well, Sharri, I initiated the Senate inquiry into the Optus outage, and as we know, at least 2 people died catastrophically last September because the government was simply not doing what it should be doing and ensuring that Optus and other telcos are properly held to account, but also the regulator. And I think we've also seen damning evidence where the government has not managed issues like the 3G shutdown. We know, of course, many devices could not connect to 000 as a result of that shutdown. So there is a real mess with our 000 system. Australians need to know that in times of emergency, Sharri, they can call 000 and get the help they need. And of course, in many cases, last September with Optus customers, they couldn't do that. The results were catastrophic, and Optus has conceded today, and they do agree they have really deeply embedded cultural issues. Many things went wrong. We even heard today, Sharri, there were processes in place that Optus executives and Optus divisions were simply not following. There was a 40-page risk management or crisis management manual that no one could even follow because it was so complex. So Optus has got a lot of hard work to do, but frankly, so has the government in terms of putting in place the regulatory framework we need to know that Australians can dial 000 in their times of need.
Yeah, absolutely crucial. I mean, the most basic requirement, really, of a telco. All right, Sarah Henderson, thank you for your time.